Okay. I got him to support me without a bribe. The announcement of the Supreme Court decision. Back at the office, I was eagerly waiting for the decision of the Supreme Court regarding our change to the Constitution. I stood up from my chair and looked out the window. Peter and Pascal were there with me. Peter was slouching on the couch on the right side of the office and staring at the ceiling. Pascal sat across from me. He was also eagerly waiting for the results. The whole process had been tough on all of us. But now there's nothing left to do but wait for the justices to cast their vote. What do you think, Anton? Are we going to make history today? I mean, I hope so. I hope so. Do you trust Isabel to bring in the votes? No, I trust nobody. Peter stared at the ceiling again. My real worry is Heron. I think we need his vote. But anyway, we'll learn about the vote soon. The session is already underway. By the way, what time is it? I looked at the tall case clock in our room. It was already 20 past 11. The court's voting session was scheduled to end in 10 minutes. We have about 10 minutes. Okay, well, we'll hear about the results soon then. But anyways, he rose from his slouch and stretched. What if I went on public news? What if I went on, you know, whatever the equivalent of like the BBC is, like the SBC, and I'm like, hey, this justice here tried to take a bribe from me. Really make everybody in the country hate his ass. Just a thought. I don't know if you've noticed, but Caruso's been getting popular in the assembly recently. Our party's been supporting him in a lot of bills, some of which have already reached you. What do you make of this? I think he's a very dangerous man, Anton. We can't let him divide our party. I agree. We have to watch him closely. Yeah, we gotta watch him. His party only holds 40 seats, Anton, yet he manages to pass bills. That man has trouble. Maybe we shouldn't allow our party to be so generous with what they support. Suddenly, Livia enters the room. Her hands was a large object wrapped in paper straw. Okay, paper straws in Sordland. Who let the libs in here? So fucking stupid. Come back with those documents in plastic straw next time, okay, Livia? And I won't fire you. Good day to you, Mr. President and Mr. Benawol. Am I interrupting you? No, please, come in. Is there a problem? The Chief Justice sent you this. She showed me the wrapped object. Really? From Orso Hakor? Bring it here. Yes, sir. She walked up to the table and gave it to me. I immediately started removing the wrapping to reveal a framed photograph. It was an old black and white photograph of Tarkin Sol posing on a destroyed tank in Holosword Square. The building behind it had thousands of bullet holes in it with a clearly readable slogan, "Victory is close," written on its walls. The date, the 14th of March 1929, was written in the corner with a black marker. I turned to Livia. Did he say anything to you about this? No, but he's obviously trying to send you a message. Hi, Livia. Noticing Peter on the couch, Livia reddened silently. She gave a small wave, which Peter returned. Mr. Vice President, I'll be leaving now. As soon as she left the room, Peter came up next to me and took the photo. Nice present. What do you think? What is it? Victory's close, huh? Orso's getting ahead of himself. Silently, Lucien rushed into the room. The music is like too tense. Mr. President, the vote has been concluded. We immediately gathered around him. Congratulations, sir. The constitutional changes are finalized, with 6 justices voting for the proposal. Gamers, we've done it. Peter jumped up and down like a little kid. Yes! Congratulations, everybody. This is a historic moment, Anton. We have changed the Soul's Constitution of 1929. I am without words. You know, you are right. I mean, the assembly is like way longer an event than this one is. We're writing history. Damn right we are. Peter approached to give me a hug. I like how your health minister is here for some reason too. He's a good guy. You know, we'll hug him. Yeah, you did it. You did well, Anton. Congratulations, sir. Today's a big day. You must also start preparing a speech to announce the changes, sir. I'll go ahead and reach out to the cabinet. We can celebrate this together over a meeting. Of course, Lucien's idea of a celebration is having a fucking meeting. All of us immediately got out to work their plans for our next step after our Supreme Court victory. Policies updated. Policies updated. Okay, let's see. How are we feeling? Constitutional amendments require assembly. Threshold of 8%. Appointed ministers required by the assembly. President's impeachable by the court and the assembly. Presidential vetoes can be overruled. And I think that's it. We have literally no good law points. Are justices still immune? Yes. They are. The justices are still immune, which is probably why he got passed. That probably would be a reason. I mean, the economy is still unstable. We got some news here. A new constitution. After the Grand National Assembly's approval of the proposal change to the Constitution, the Supreme Court also voted in favor of the new Constitution on Friday, making the changes official. The new Constitution replaces several of the major sections that were seen as unchangeable, of which many sources saw as owing its origins to the military rule of Colonel Tarkin Sol back in 1929. One of the key changes was taking the Supreme Court's vote on constitutional changes, allowing the Grand National Assembly of Sordland to make the changes through the Constitution without the Supreme Court's approval. This is a triumph for all sorts of citizens who love democracy and wanted change, said Franz Richter. Although some observers expressed disappointment that the new changes did not reflect the will of the people, many USP supporters reacted with jubilation in public spaces across Sordland on Friday night. So if you remove the justice immunity, Garcia can support you without taking a bribe. Why would he be more willing to do that if I remove immunity? The new changes to Sordland's Constitution are approved and made official by the Supreme Court on Friday. Oh, so you can get Hawker impeached? The biggest change is probably the new constitutional amendment process, which will not include the Supreme Court's vote in order to make changes to the Constitution, giving the Assembly the proper legislative power it deserves. The Constitution also brings the Constitution also brings limits to the previous absolute presidential vetoes, allowing the Assembly to be able to bypass the president's decision if they gather enough support. These much-awaited changes are celebrated by millions of Sordland citizens who flocked to the streets to support the new Constitution. While some of the opposition talked about their concerns, most of Sordland is showing their support for President Rayne, who has managed to succeed in the unthinkable, changing the Constitution of Tarkin Sol. We've already got, again, when we first played this game 5 years ago, we did not pass the Constitution. The constitutional amendment did fail. Okay. After the new constitutional changes that were approved on Friday, many in the country found themselves discussing necessity and the potential outcomes of the changes brought by the USP leadership. While the opposition, vowing to undo the changes, independent MP Massion Lecce praised President Rayne for including the decrease to the undemocratic electoral threshold. The undemocratic 10% threshold has finally been changed, which is put into place to keep the British people out of Swedish politics. I congratulate President Rayne for establishing an 8% threshold. By the small decrease, it will most likely be enough to bring the Workers' Party of Blodia into the Grand National Assembly, finally bringing an end to the suppression of the British voice. So maybe now the British citizens will be a little bit more happy with me. We can only hope, Okay. Lucien stood upright, holding a large folder of flyers under his arms. He bowed in acknowledgement. He looked exhausted. The cabinet is gathered in the White Room, sir. The Vice President will be opening the session soon. We can go in whenever you're ready. Okay. Thank you, Lucien. You look tired. How are you holding up? It's nothing, sir. I'm ready and able as always. Okay. Are you sure? You can be honest with me. I'm always honest with you, sir. I'll admit, this year was tough. Especially all that lobbying work. But it's nothing to break me down, sir. Trust me, I'm fine. He fixed his tie. Okay. Anything you want to say before we go in? I only want to congratulate you again. You wrote history. Couldn't have done it without you. He slightly bowed his head. He gestured to the door. I think we should go, sir. Mr. Vice President Vectrin must have started the session already. Lucien held the door for me, and we both left the office for the White Room. When we entered the room, Peter was speaking to the cabinet members who were already seated around the table. As soon as they noticed me, they all stood up. Okay, good day, everybody. Please have a seat. Peter turned towards me. Everyone except him took their seats. He stood right next to my chair in the middle. And here is our president. He held out my chair for me to sit down and smiled. Please. I sat down. Peter walked to his seat and spoke, still standing. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here to discuss our current status and plan for the remainder of our term. I know that some of you have had your concerns about our style of governance so far. There will be time to speak up about these in today's meeting. But I also must thank all of you for your hard work so far. We are very lucky to have a team like this. All of you have been invaluable to our administration. Lucius grimaced at his remarks. Having said that, now that we have reached a critical point in our term, we are nearing the end. We have successfully made changes to the Swordage Constitution. This is a historic accomplishment. Without this team, it couldn't have been possible. The new Constitution has brought up one step closer to the Swordage dream. We should be proud for having strengthened our democracy. Our success with these changes has brought with it a great support. Our party, which was divided at the beginning of our term, is finally coming together once more. So, let's start this meeting with a brief look at some reports. He fumbled with a stack of papers in front of him. According to the latest polls, people seem to be content with our administration. The public opinion has not changed much. He looked at a piece of paper from the stack and inspected it. The biggest concern of the people is the state of our economy. We are slowly slipping into a depression. It's only a matter of time until the people will be hit further. This will have dire consequences for our administration. This is the time to give the best that we can, for this administration and for Sordland. He turned to me. I'll give the word to the president now. He sat down. Mr. Vice President, thank you for the opening. Everybody's eyes are focused on me. You know what, first, I would like to hear some brief reports from each ministry. Peter gestured at Simon and he immediately stood up. Mr. President, dear colleagues, Mr. Vice President is pretty on point with his summary of the current economic status. He's also used the word depression. He couldn't have been more correct. Our GDP shrank by 15%? This downward trend has broken our economy over the last years. If we cannot contain this in time, we will end our term, in the truest sense in the word, in a depression. However, this is not yet reflected well with our debt situation. The current national debt has increased to about 85 billion SR this year. If we maintain such a deficit over the next years, we will face a massive debt crisis which could crash the economy. The Assembly is working on to introduce new tax bills which will generate more revenue for the government. These efforts will depend on the government's deficit situation. On the other hand, unemployment has seen no positive change. There has been an increase in joblessness. It is now 26%. We've lost control of the situation. You've caused millions of people to lose their jobs. He paused for a moment. Okay, I'll stay silent. Well, I don't want to get into too much detail right now, but I have to say that the failure to open our first infrastructure project was costly. Fortunately, we expect to see it finished in next months. But apart from all that, I'll finish with an update on our latest project. The manager reported that everything is going well and very fast at the Morna port. I'll keep it brief for the sake of the whole meeting and end my report on that note. Okay, your concerns have been heard. Gus stood up as soon as Simon sat down. I'll also keep it brief, Mr. President. We are slowly but surely reigniting our agricultural production. Our ministry is aiding the farmers with government subsidies. We're sure this will have a positive reflection on our economy in the near future. That'll be all. Thank you, Mr. Manager. Mr. President, there are currently no major problems within the Ministry of Health. We are currently investigating some reports of a small polio outbreak around the village called Hamir. We believe we can get into more detail of our policy meeting soon. Thank you, Mr. Benevold. Joseph stood up. The Ministry of Defense has a very important report regarding the situation with Rumberg. The investigation showed that Rumberg was in fact weaponizing rebels against our state. We have learned that they have been aiding the Bluish rebels in Valen too. Our military must stand ready for any possible attack coming from Rumberg. We have gathered intelligence regarding their military research and production. They are building a massive army. Our military forces don't have the budget to fare against such a force. We cannot let them threaten us like this. Bring our military forces closer with Agnolia. Make the necessary arrangements, Mr. Lucia. We'll have to make use of whatever we have to its limits. Of course, sir. David stood up. Mr. President, Peril has agreed to begin deal negotiations. We will be moving on with that very soon. Our relationship with Agnolia has greatly improved, and our ministers have scheduled many joint projects together. The region is very unstable. With the incidents at Rumberg, Valen, and Hajland, we have to be very cautious. We talk more in detail at our foreign policy meetings. Concerns have been heard. Pierre was next. Our ministry is working day and night to improve our education system and increase its accessibility. We have since built around 100 new schools and improved accessibility. We've accomplished a lot with our new curriculum, and our reforms will greatly improve our output as a society. Mr. President, excuse me, I can't even tell Sierra that she's been doing a good job like everybody else. We have important equipment missing from several of our major police departments. We might need to implement new measures soon. We'll provide you with more detailed reports at a later date. Unfortunately, after the departure of Governor Braun, the situation in Special Zone has barely changed. Despite not following the extreme policies of his predecessor, Governor Kroll is continuing on with discriminatory policies against the Bloods in Bergia. I'm afraid that if this continues, we'll have a major problem on our hands. Reports of the BFF organizing its forces is very concerning. Luckily, I have some good news about the abolishment of the Bergia Special Zone. Apart from a few small details, the project is ready to be implemented. We can get rid of the governor soon. I'll send the final documents for you to sign soon, Mr. President. You know what? Good to know. I'm expecting them soon, Mrs. Gruff. There's one more important thing to ask of you. I would like to transfer Germandre under the Ministry of Interior to improve the internal security efforts. I haven't heard of this before. I'm still working on the proposal and have legal backing for it. I was going to mention it later. The Ministry of Defense shouldn't be meddling with internal security through the Germandre. We have several incidences where they were too violent too quickly, and a sense for military officers giving reckless orders at times. Okay, if the security situation worsens, it might be necessary. It'll eventually cause a problem between our forces. There are already miscommunications going on. Will you transfer the Germandre to the Interior in the future? I mean, Yosef is in the room. Couldn't we just ask him? You know what? Sure. You know, Mrs. Groff? Are you also going for a peaceful run? Well, I'll try not to bring the country into war if I can avoid it. Sure, I'll give you the authority. Leah smiled faintly. Nia stood up. Does Yosef have nothing to say about this? Again, he's here. Since the removal of Governor Braun from the office, there have been some positive results for our blooded citizens in Bergia. However, Governor Kroll seems to be looking for new loopholes to continue Braun's racist policies in different ways. He said to use the bathroom. Mr. Ersin gained a lot of popularity. Actually, did he? Are you making that up? Or did he actually leave and I didn't actually read that bit? Mr. Ersin gained a lot of popularity for his fight against Governor Braun and now leading a peaceful ground movement against Governor Kroll. Making that up? God damn it. I knew it too. That part has always weirded you out. Yeah, I know. He's not a silent man. He likes speaking his mind. According to the court ruling, Governor Kroll cannot resume Felix Braun's oppressive policies. While Mr. Hockerly in the court, finding loopholes may still be a possibility. I'm afraid if Mr. Kroll retains his position for long, you may see tensions rise again. We'll get rid of him after I've signed off on Mrs. Groff's project. I hope so, Mr. President. We will. Next, I want to talk about our new focus and some of my plans going forward. Okay. We got to fix the economy. The economy will be a #1 priority until the end of our term. We will aim to boost it further. Some are not in agreement. Poverty and homelessness. Let's become an economic powerhouse. Almost everybody seemed to be in agreement with me. Who's that one person that's like, you know what? We should be poorer. We should... If there are no comments, let's move on with the meeting. I know it's like, this is probably one of my favorite video gamey, like, dialogue choices, is whenever you say something like this, right? Let's move on with the meeting. That's everything. I don't know, I always love it. In any game, you know, whether it's like, you know, a Bethesda game or, you know, Disco Elysium or something like that, where there's just kind of like these, where these go back and back, doesn't make any sense. Okay. Last 2.5 years have gone by so fast. Okay, we have no news going on today. Agent Hailstone has revealed intelligence about a secret nuclear weapons program developed in Nuremberg. Our intelligence verified the details relaying about the heavy water facility in the north of the kingdom and ballistic missile test site. Okay, we might need to bomb their nuclear facilities. Gang violence to claim more lives. We haven't really done anything with the cartels yet. Like, they've been mentioned repeatedly, but we haven't really been able to actually focus on them in any real way. Okay, it's time to address the nation. Okay, Lucy and I walked into my office in the Maroon Palace to make my address to the nation speech. It was unusually crowded today. Cameras, lights, and microphones were set in place, and the crew was standing by, ready to start filming. Are you ready, sir? Let's do it. Let's do it. You need to fund law enforcement to fight the gangs? Well, it's too late for that. Good. I think the crew's ready. As soon as you take your seat, we can go live. I took my seat and rearranged my notes on the desk as the crew member powdered my face with a cotton puff. After everybody was ready, the director gave the sign to start filming, and I looked directly into the camera. My fellow citizens, You know, I like to speak about our future. About the great historic effort to give words, freedom, fairness, and hope new meanings and power. Okay. 2 years ago, I spoke to you of change, and we have accomplished that. Yeah, our change is a continuation of what we started 3 decades ago. We need to remember where Sordland was 2 years ago. Those days are behind us now. And the change that we brought has been real. Okay. We made a constitution that no longer protects the rights of the select few elites, but ensures participation of all. Okay, like, what's going on? One question in my mind, will the reforms help you? Democratization of Sordland. Did we really change the Constitution that much to, like, affect the rich and powerful? Like, no, we didn't really do that much in that respect, I think. I've spoken with and received letters from thousands of you. I know how hungry you were for change, and make no mistake. Together we can change Sordland forever. A new age is upon us. Beyond this, we intend to strengthen the democratic freedoms of every Sordish citizen. Voices were raised saying we'll look past. Voices were raised saying that we had to look to our past for greatness and glory. We approved, and we will continue to prove them wrong. Looking backwards. We are creating a nation once again vibrant, robust, and alive. We need the economy. With our reforms complete, our government will now focus on the economic development of Sordland. Okay, we know what's right. Let history say of us that these were the golden years, when Sordish democracy was reborn, when Sordland reached for her breast. I remind you of the revolutionary phrase, morning will come, victory is close, and I am glad to say that morning has finally come. The future is in our hands. I took another deep breath. Lucy and shooed a fly away from my forehead. Okay. For Sordland, a vision that sees tomorrow's dreams in its learning and hard work that we do today. Conventional wisdom. We're not here to congratulate ourselves on what we have done, but to challenge ourselves to finish what has not yet been done. A Morga West Corps Victor Insista. Director gave the cut signal and the cameraman stopped filming. My speech was finished. How do people feel about it? The economy has not recovered. I mean, it's gone up a little bit, you know. Now I don't remember where the like look how much in the red we are. We're on, like, if you continue this trajectory forever, like, it's just gonna go straight to the fucking moon. Okay, so we gotta read our last bit of news. In addressing the nation, a confident Anton Rayne announced that with his constitutional reforms passed, the future now lies in our hands. The reform process was long and arduous, taking up much of the Rayne's first 2 years in office. Undoubtedly, the president is relieved to finally be able to move on and finish on his campaign promises. Fantastic. Revelations. Okay.